The soft blue glow of the observation deck pulsed gently as Elder Light studied the images from the newly discovered solar system. His crystalline form sparkled with interest as he watched the third planet's inhabitants go about their daily lives. The Luminants had been mapping galaxies for thousands of years, but never had they encountered a species quite like this one. Most troubling, he whispered to himself, his light dimming slightly as he witnessed scenes of conflict from various parts of the planet. A war raged in one region, while natural disasters struck another. Yet something made him continue watching instead of marking the system as unstable and moving on to the next sector. The younger observer, Swiftgleam, entered the chamber, her crystalline form glowing with the bright energy of youth. Elder, the Council requests an update on the new species. Should we mark their system as dangerous and move on? Elder Light didn't answer immediately. His attention was fixed on a new image. Humans rushing into a burning building to save strangers, forming long chains to rescue people from flood waters, and sending aid to regions that were, just years ago, their bitter enemies. "Look at this," he said, gesturing to Swiftgleam. "Watch what happens after their conflicts." Together, they observed as humans rebuilt cities from rubble, constructed hospitals where battlefields once were, and turned weapons factories into schools. Communities that had fought each other for generations now worked side by side to protect endangered species and clean polluted rivers. "I don't understand," Swiftgleam said, her glow flickering with confusion. "They fight and destroy, then build and heal. Why not just live in peace as we do?" Elder Light's glow brightened with growing comprehension. Perhaps that is what makes them unique. In all our years of observation, we have never seen a species that contains such opposite forces within itself. He brought up more images, children from different nations playing together in the ruins of a war zone, former soldiers becoming doctors, and scientists from once enemy countries working together to cure diseases. But their violence. Swiftgleam started to protest. Yes, their capacity for violence is great. Elder Light agreed, but observed their capacity for good. When disaster strikes, they don't ask which nation someone is from before helping. When faced with a crisis, they can set aside centuries of hatred in moments. The observation deck filled with more images, space stations being built by countries that once pointed nuclear weapons at each other, global celebrations as humans took their first steps on Mars, and international rescue missions saving people from natural disasters. Most fascinating, Elder Light continued, his glow pulsing with excitement, is how they learn from their mistakes. Each conflict leads to new ways of preventing future ones. Each disaster brings them closer together. They fall, but they always rise again, stronger and wiser. Swiftgleam moved closer to the images, her initial fear giving way to curiosity. They are like a puzzle with pieces that shouldn't fit together, yet somehow do. "Exactly," Elder Light said. "And that is why we must continue watching. The galaxy has many peaceful species, ourselves included. It has many violent ones too. But how many can be both warriors and healers? How many can hate so deeply yet love so completely?" As they watched, new images appeared of humans working on their first faster-than-light drive. Elder Light's glow brightened even further. They stand at the threshold of joining the galactic community. They will bring something we haven't seen in 50,000 years of peace, the understanding that harmony doesn't always come naturally. Sometimes it must be fought for, built from the ashes of conflict, and maintained through constant effort. Swiftgleam's color shifted to a deeper blue of understanding. "You believe they have something to teach us?" "Perhaps," Elder Light replied, watching as humans celebrated another scientific breakthrough. "They have something to teach the entire galaxy." Their quiet observation was interrupted by a sudden alert. New images flashed across the deck, dark ships approaching the edges of the human solar system. Elder Light's glow dimmed with concern as he recognized the signature energy patterns of the Void Hunters. "Contact the Council," he said urgently to Swiftgleam. "The humans are about to face their greatest test, and what happens next may change the galaxy forever. The red dust of Mars swirled around the dome of New Hope Colony, humanity's first permanent settlement on the red planet. Inside, 200 colonists went about their daily routines, unaware they were being watched not by one, but two alien species. Elder Light and Swift Gleam observed from their cloaked ship in Mars orbit, preparing to make first contact with humanity. Their vessel glowed with gentle blue light as they finalized their peaceful greeting message. But before they could transmit it, dark shapes appeared on their sensors. Void hunter ships. Swift Gleam's light pulsed with alarm. 3 of them, approaching the human colony. The Void Hunters were known throughout the galaxy as raiders who preyed on developing civilizations. Their ships, black as space itself, moved into attack position around the Mars colony. "We must warn them," Swift Gleam said, reaching for the communication controls. Elder Light stopped her. "We cannot interfere. It is our highest law." His own glow dimmed with sadness as they watched the Void Hunters open fire. The colony's shields, designed to protect against radiation and meteorites, crumbled under the alien weapons. Alarms blared inside the dome as sections began to decompress. But what happened next made both luminants pulse with surprise. Instead of panicking, the colonists moved with unexpected coordination. Security teams rushed to seal off damaged sections. Engineers worked to reroute power to maintain life support. Medical teams set up emergency stations. No one ran in fear. No one thought only of themselves. "Look," Swift Gleam said, pointing to their sensors. The colony's commander was organizing an evacuation, but not to their emergency shelters. They were loading children and injured colonists into their small fleet of ships. "They're not fleeing," Elder Light realized. "They're creating a distraction." As the evacuation ships launched in different directions, the colony's defense batteries opened fire on the Void Hunters. The weapons were primitive by galactic standards, but the humans used them cleverly, forcing the raiders to split their attention. "The colony leaders are staying behind," Swift Gleam noted, her glow pulsing with growing respect. "They're giving the others time to escape." Through their sensors, they could hear the colony's communications. No one spoke of revenge. No one cursed their attackers. Every message focused on saving lives, protecting others, and buying more time for the evacuation ships. A Void Hunter blast hit the colony's main power core. The resulting explosion shattered half the dome, but by then, most of the colonists were either in the underground shelters or aboard the evacuation ships. The colony's commander and his team worked until the last moment, rerouting emergency power to keep life support running in the shelters. "Remarkable," Elder Light said. "Their first instinct wasn't to save themselves or strike back, but to protect their most vulnerable." They watched as the Void Hunters, frustrated by the escaped ships, began landing troops to raid the colony. But the humans had one final surprise. The remaining security teams had set up ambush points, not to kill, but to delay. They used riot gear and non-lethal weapons, showing restraint even against those who had shown them none. "This isn't the behavior of a violent species," Swift Gleam said, her earlier doubts fading. "At least, not only violent." Earth responded to the colony's distress call immediately. Ships from every major nation launched within hours, carrying not weapons, but rescue equipment and medical supplies. The planet that seemed so divided in their earlier observations united instantly in the face of this crisis. "The Void Hunters will return," Elder Light said, his glow brightening with decision. "They always do. And when they come back, we cannot interfere," Swift Gleam reminded him, though her own glow wavered with uncertainty. "Perhaps," Elder Light replied, watching as the first Earth rescue ships approached Mars. "It is time to reconsider what interference truly means. These humans, they protect life even at the cost of their own. They show mercy even to those who attack them. They unite despite their differences." A message from the Luminant Council interrupted them. More Void Hunter ships had been detected approaching the solar system. This attack was just the beginning. Call a full council session, Elder Light said, his glow now steady and bright. The humans have shown us something we had forgotten in our millennia of peace. Sometimes the most peaceful path is not to stand aside, but to stand between those who would harm and those who need protection. The luminant observation ship drifted silently through Earth's orbit as Elder Light and Swift Gleam continued their study of humanity in the weeks following the Mars attack. The screens before them showed scenes from across the planet as humans prepared for what they now knew was coming. Military bases buzzed with activity, but not in the way the luminants expected. Instead of building weapons, many were being converted into refugee centers. Soldiers trained not just for combat, but for rescue operations. Engineers who once designed missiles now worked on stronger shields for civilian shelters. They're learning so quickly, Swift Gleam noted, watching as humans adapted Martian colony technology to build better protection systems. Look how they turned their war machines into shields. Elder Light's glow pulsed thoughtfully as they observed a former weapons factory. The assembly lines that once made bombs now produced emergency medical pods. The humans had taken the hard lesson of the Mars attack and turned it into something remarkable. They call it swords into plowshares, Elder Light said, accessing their cultural database, an ancient human concept, the ability to turn tools of war into tools of peace. Their sensors focused on a hospital where doctors who had fought on opposite sides of recent conflicts now worked together, sharing knowledge to treat injuries they'd never seen before. The Void Hunter's weapons had left strange burns and injuries, but human medical science was adapting at an incredible pace. It's not just their technology that evolves, Swift Gleam observed. Their whole society shifts to meet the challenge. They watched as nations that had been enemies for generations sign new treaties, pooling resources and sharing research. Schools adjusted their lessons to include space defense alongside art and literature. Children learned both emergency protocols and songs of hope. An alert drew their attention to a small coastal town. A fishing boat had picked up survivors from one of the Mars evacuation ships that had crashed into the ocean. The locals didn't hesitate to help the strangers, sharing their homes and food without question. That's why we keep watching them, Elder Light said. Any species can learn to fight. Any species can choose peace. But humans do both at the same time. Their screens showed more scenes. Scientists working through the night to improve their defenses, but taking breaks to read stories to their children. Soldiers training hard for the coming battles, then spending their free time helping build community gardens. Artists painting murals of hope on the walls of bunkers. They're preparing for war, Swift Gleam said, but they haven't lost their spirit of peace. Elder Light adjusted their sensors to focus on a group of children. They were practicing emergency drills, but had turned it into a game, laughing and helping each other. Even in the shadow of danger, they found joy and friendship. The Void Hunters don't understand what they've awakened, Elder Light said. They think they found another primitive species to raid. They don't see what we see. They observed as humans around the world organized not just defenses, but networks of support. Food distribution systems were strengthened. Medical knowledge was shared freely across borders. Space programs that had once competed now collaborated openly. The Council must see this, Swift Gleam said, her glow brightening with urgency. Humans don't just fight their enemies. They protect each other. They heal each other. They make each other stronger. A new signal caught their attention. The humans had detected another Void Hunter scout ship near Jupiter. But instead of attacking, they tracked it silently, gathering information, learning its weaknesses. They were learning to think beyond mere reaction. This is why we've watched them for so long, Elder Light said. This is why we haven't moved on to other systems. They're teaching us something we had forgotten. Swift Gleam's glow pulsed with curiosity. What's that? That true peace isn't the absence of conflict, Elder Light replied, watching as humans continued their preparations. It's the wisdom to know when to fight, when to heal, and how to do both with compassion. Their ship's sensors detected more Void Hunter vessels, gathering at the edge of the solar system. The real test of humanity was about to begin, and the Luminants had a decision to make. Would they continue to watch, or would they finally break their ancient law of non-interference? Elder Light looked at the scenes of human determination and cooperation before them. For the first time in his long life, he knew exactly what the Luminants had to do. The Void Hunters struck at dawn. Their black ships filled Earth's skies like storm clouds, darkening cities from New York to Tokyo. But humanity wasn't caught off guard this time. They had used the weeks since the Mars attack well. Elder Light and Swift Gleam watched from their hidden ship as Earth's response began. Instead of panic, there was purpose. Instead of chaos, there was coordination. The humans had prepared for this moment in ways that surprised even the ancient Luminants. The first wave of Void Hunter ships met an unexpected welcome. Networks of satellites, hastily modified after studying the wreckage from Mars, scrambled their targeting systems. The raiders had expected easy prey, but humanity had learned from their first encounter. They're not just fighting back, Swift Gleam observed, her glow pulsing with excitement. They're protecting each other. Around the world, cities enacted their shield protocols. Not every city had enough power to maintain strong shields, so they worked together. When Mumbai's shield wavered, power was rerouted from less threatened cities in Europe. When Tokyo's defenses needed strengthening, cities along the American West Coast shared their energy. The Void Hunters landed their ground forces, expecting to find soft targets. Instead, they found humans working with incredible unity. Police and civilians worked together to evacuate threatened areas. Hospitals had underground facilities ready. Every subway system had become a shelter network. Look at how they use their knowledge of their own world, Elder Light said, watching as humans used their planet's environment to their advantage. They flooded some areas to trap Void Hunter ground forces, used their understanding of weather patterns to disrupt enemy ships, and turned their city's complex networks of streets into tactical advantages. But what impressed the Luminants most was how humans helped each other in the midst of battle. Rescue teams ran into danger to save strangers. People shared their food and water without hesitation. Former enemies fought side by side to protect civilian shelters. A Void Hunter ship managed to break through the defenses over London. But before it could strike, 3 fighters from different nations' air forces worked together to drive it back. They protected the city not for glory or revenge, but because people needed their help. They're not winning through superior strength, Swift Gleam realized, watching as humans used clever tactics and cooperation to make up for their technological disadvantages. They're winning through unity and determination. The Void Hunters, used to raiding poorly defended worlds, grew frustrated. They had expected to find an easy target, but each attack was met with organized resistance. More importantly, each attack seemed to make humanity stronger, not weaker. When the raiders destroyed a power station in Brazil, 3 neighboring countries immediately shared their power to keep vital services running. When they damaged farms in Ukraine, other nations quickly sent food supplies. Every blow meant to break human spirit, instead made their bonds stronger. The Void Hunters don't understand what they're seeing, Elder Light said, his glow brightening with admiration. They think causing damage will make humans submit. They don't realize it only makes them more determined to protect each other. The battle raged through the day and into the night. The humans took losses, but they never broke. Their coordination grew stronger with each hour. They adapted their tactics, shared information freely, and turned each setback into a lesson. Swift Gleam's glow pulsed rapidly as she processed new data. More Void Hunter ships are arriving. The humans can't hold out forever against these numbers. Elder Light watched as emergency workers in Cairo dug through rubble to save trapped civilians, while nearby soldiers held off raiders to protect them. In orbit, human space stations acted as early warning systems, their crews staying at their posts despite the danger to help coordinate Earth's defenses. Perhaps they don't need to hold out forever, Elder Light said, making a decision. They've shown us everything we needed to see. They've proven themselves worthy not just of survival, but of alliance. He turned to Swift Gleam, his glow now steady and bright with purpose. Send word to the Council. Tell them it's time. The humans have shown us that true peace isn't just about avoiding conflict. It's about standing up for what's right. Above Earth, the battle continued. Humanity fought not for glory or revenge, but for the simple right to exist, to protect their homes and each other. And in doing so, they had unknowingly passed the greatest test the galaxy could offer. The great crystal chamber of the Luminant Council glowed with the combined light of 50 elder beings. Their bodies pulsed with different colors as they debated the fate of humanity. Elder Light stood in the center, his steady blue glow reflecting off the chamber walls as he made his case. For 50,000 years, we have watched other species from afar, he said, projecting images of Earth's battle against the Void Hunters. For 50,000 years, we have chosen not to interfere. But today, we must ask ourselves, is standing aside truly peaceful, or is it simply fear dressed as wisdom? The council members' lights flickered as they watched humans working together to defend their world. A group of children helping injured strangers in a shelter, soldiers giving their food to refugees, scientists freely sharing discoveries that could save lives. The humans are fighting, yes. Elder Light continued, but look at how they fight. Not for glory, not for power, not even for revenge. They fight to protect. Clear Light, the oldest council member, pulsed with doubt. They are violent. Their history is full of war. Show them, Swift Gleam said from her place beside Elder Light. She projected new images, humans turning military hospitals into civilian care centers, soldiers risking their lives to save enemy wounded, engineers working day and night to strengthen shields around civilian areas. Yes, they know war, Elder Light agreed, but that's precisely why they value peace. They understand its cost in a way we never have. Our peace came easily to us. Theirs is earned through hard choices and constant effort. The chamber filled with images from Earth's past, former enemies signing peace treaties, war memorials bearing messages of hope, children from different nations playing together in once contested lands. Deep Light, another council member, glowed with concern. If we help them, we break our oldest law. Where would we draw the line? When would we stop interfering? Elder Light moved to the center of the chamber, his glow steady and strong. Perhaps we've misunderstood our own wisdom. We thought peace meant never fighting. But these humans have shown us that sometimes peace must be protected. Sometimes silence in the face of wrong is not peace at all. The chamber hummed with the combined light of the council as they processed his words. Swift Gleam added more recent images, humans sharing power between cities to maintain shields, nations pooling resources to help others, strangers sheltering together in subway tunnels turned bunkers. The Void Hunters chose Earth because they thought humans were weak, Elder Light said. They were wrong. Humans aren't weak. They're strong in ways we'd forgotten were possible. They know how to fight, yes, but they also know when to fight, and more importantly, what to fight for. Wise Light, a council member known for careful thought, pulsed softly. If we help them, we risk changing ourselves. We risk losing our perfect peace. Perhaps perfect peace isn't the highest goal, Elder Light replied. Perhaps it's better to have peace with purpose, peace that protects, peace that stands up against wrong. The chamber grew quiet as new images appeared. Human medical teams treating injured Void Hunter soldiers, Earth's defenders using non-lethal weapons where possible, children drawing pictures of hope even as battles raged overhead. They've built something remarkable, Elder Light said softly. Not a perfect peace like ours, but something perhaps more valuable. A peace that knows its price, a peace willing to defend itself and others, a peace strong enough to show mercy even to its enemies. The council's combined glow shifted, colors blending as they considered. Their light reflected off the crystal walls, creating patterns that hadn't been seen in 50,000 years of unchanging peace. We must decide, Clear Light announced, not just about helping humans, but about who we are. what peace truly means, whether it's enough to be peaceful ourselves, or whether we have a duty to defend peace for others. Elder Light stood straight, his glow unwavering. The humans have already made their choice. Despite their fears, despite their losses, they choose to protect not just themselves, but each other. They fight not because they love violence, but because they love peace enough to defend it. The chamber's light began to pulse in unison as the council reached their decision. After 50,000 years of watching, the time had come to act. The galaxy's most peaceful species was about to take its first step toward a new understanding of peace, one learned from the very species they had come to help. The sky over New York brightened as if a second sun had risen. The Void Hunter ships paused their attack as a massive vessel of pure light appeared between them and the city. Similar ships materialized over every major city on Earth, their gentle radiance pushing back the darkness brought by the raiders. Inside the United Nations emergency bunker, screens lit up with a message in every human language. We are the Luminants. We come to stand with you. The human leaders gathered in the bunker watched in awe as the light ships moved into defensive positions. Their energy fields easily absorbed the Void Hunters' weapons, protecting the cities below. But they didn't fire back. Instead, they created barriers, giving Earth's defenders time to regroup and tend to their wounded. Elder Light's ship descended to land outside the UN bunker. The human leaders had faced aliens before, but never like this. When the ship's doors opened, the soft blue glow that emerged felt somehow familiar, like sunlight through water. Your world has shown great courage, Elder Light said as he entered the bunker, his crystalline form glowing gently. We have watched you for many years, and now we offer our help, not to fight your battles, but to stand beside you as allies. The human leaders looked at each other, decades of conflict and mistrust momentarily forgotten in the face of this new development. The president of the African Union spoke first. You've been watching us, even during our wars, our conflicts. Yes, Elder Light replied, his glow pulsing steadily. We watched you fight, but more importantly, we watched you make peace. We watched you learn from your mistakes. We watched you grow stronger by working together. Above them, Swift Gleam's voice came through the communication system. She was coordinating with Earth's defense forces, teaching them how to modify their shields using luminant technology. The humans learned quickly, their engineers and scientists working side by side with the light beings to strengthen their defenses. We bring you technology, Elder Light continued, but we also bring you a choice. We can help you drive the Void Hunters away with overwhelming force, or we can help you find a better way. The room grew quiet. The Chinese premier looked at the screens showing the ongoing battle. What better way? They attacked us. They showed no mercy. Elder Light's glow softened, yet you showed mercy to their wounded. You used non-lethal weapons where possible. You protected civilians, even theirs. That's why we chose to help you. Not because you can fight, but because you know when not to. The Void Hunters regrouped, preparing for another attack. But now they faced a changed situation. Human ingenuity combined with luminant technology. Earth's defenders worked alongside the light ships, not just fighting back, but creating safe corridors for enemy ships to retreat. In orbit, Swift Gleam guided human space stations in creating a new kind of shield network. Your satellites were clever, she told the engineers. Now let's make them something more. The humans adapted quickly, turning their defense systems into a web that could trap ships without destroying them. On the ground, luminant technology helped human medical teams treat all casualties, defender and attacker alike. In the cities, their light technology strengthened shelters and provided power to damaged areas. The Void Hunters had expected to break human resolve. Instead, they found it stronger than ever. Your history is full of weapons turned to peaceful uses, Elder Light told the leaders. Now help us turn our peace into protection for others. The human leaders looked at their screens. Their people were already working with the Luminants, sharing ideas, combining their strength with luminant wisdom. The defenders of a dozen nations coordinated with light ships to create safe zones. Scientists shared their knowledge of Earth's environment to help the Luminants better protect the planet. "We learned from watching you," Elder Light said softly. "Now let us learn from working together. Show us how to be strong without losing our gentleness. Teach us how to defend without destroying." Outside, the combined shields of humanity and the Luminants glowed like an aurora around the Earth. The Void Hunters faced not just weapons, but wisdom. Not just force, but the strength of two peoples who had chosen to stand together, one that had learned the price of peace, and one that had learned the courage to defend it. The final battle didn't end the way anyone expected. The Void Hunters gathered their largest fleet yet, thousands of black ships against Earth's combined human and Luminant defenses. But instead of finding a weakened planet, they found something new, a world protected by both strength and wisdom. Earth's orbit had become a web of light. Human satellites worked together with Luminant technology, creating shields that didn't just block attacks, but redirected them harmlessly into space. On the surface, cities glowed with protective barriers powered by both human determination and Luminant energy. The Void Hunter commander's voice crackled across all channels. "This world is our prey. Your light tricks won't save them." Elder Light stood in the combined command center beneath New York, where human military leaders worked alongside Luminant guides. His gentle glow mixed with the blue light of tactical screens as he answered, "We don't seek to save them. They've already saved themselves. We stand with them because they showed us a better way." The Void Hunters launched their attack. Their black ships filled the sky like storm clouds. But Earth was ready. Defensive systems designed by human engineers and powered by Luminant energy activated. The shields didn't just protect. They adapted, learning from each strike, growing stronger. "Look how they waste their strength protecting the weak," the Void Hunter commander sneered, noticing how much power was devoted to civilian shelters. Swift Gleam's voice came clear across the channels. "It's not waste. It's wisdom. Something you've forgotten." She coordinated with human pilots, their ships dancing between Luminant light barriers, not attacking, but containing. Not destroying, but defending. The Void Hunters found their weapons caught in fields of light, transformed into harmless energy. Their ships were guided into holding patterns by combination of human tactical thinking and Luminant technology. Each attack they launched was turned aside, not with violence, but with carefully planned defense. "You can't win without destroying us," the Void Hunter commander growled. "We don't need to destroy you to win," came the response from a human general. "We just need to show you a different way." The battle stretched on, but something was changing. Some Void Hunter ships began to hold back, watching as their weapons were turned into light, as their wounded were treated in combined human-Luminant medical centers, as their captured crews were treated with respect. In orbit, a young Void Hunter pilot found his ship caught in a web of light. Instead of destruction, he faced a choice. Earth's defenders opened a clear path for retreat. The Luminants provided safe corridors for those who wished to leave. One by one, Void Hunter ships began to turn away. Their commander raged, "Cowards! They show weakness by offering mercy." But more ships withdrew. They had come expecting easy prey, expecting a primitive world of violence. Instead, they found a civilization that had learned to be strong without losing its humanity, that had gained powerful allies not through force, but through wisdom. In the command center, Elder Light's glow pulsed with satisfaction. "Your people taught us that peace isn't just the absence of conflict. It's the courage to stand for what's right, while remembering what makes us worthy of standing at all." The human leaders watched as more Void Hunter ships retreated. Their greatest victory wasn't won through superior firepower, but through the power of choice. They had offered their enemies a way out, and in doing so, had shown the galaxy a new kind of strength. The Void Hunter fleet finally broke. Their commander's ship hung alone in orbit, facing the combined might of two civilizations that had learned from each other. "You'll regret showing mercy," he threatened. "No," Elder Light replied simply. Mercy isn't weakness. Your own pilots proved that today by choosing a better path. As the last dark ships vanished into space, Earth celebrated not with triumphant displays of power, but by sending aid to damaged areas. Humans and luminants worked together, rebuilding, healing, and planning for a future neither species could have imagined alone. We came to defend humanity, Swift Gleam said, watching Earth glow with combined light of two civilizations. But they defended something greater. They defended the idea that true strength lies not in the power to destroy, but in the wisdom to protect. Not in the ability to win wars, but in the courage to show even our enemies a better way. The galaxy had changed. The most peaceful species had learned to stand and fight when needed. The humans had shown that their capacity for violence was matched by their capacity for mercy. Together, they had created something new. A peace strong enough to defend itself, wise enough to show mercy, and brave enough to believe in something better.